Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning into this lesson where we're going to learn how to play a quick little segment from Katy Perry's Dark Horse on this instrument, the recorder. It's going to be a lot of fun and I'm excited to get started. So first, I'd like to talk about a few basic concepts that I like to call executive concepts that really apply to playing any instrument that you could pick up, whether it be violin, the piano, the guitar, anything. These set of basic skills are what's going to allow you to build the proper techniques and just build the right habits so that you don't have to go back and relearn anything in the future. So the first thing you always want to be careful about when you're sitting in a chair is to always have your feet flat on the floor. You want to do this so that you don't have any instabilities in the way you're sitting. If I'm going to cross my legs like this, then I could easily fall over. My instrument might be put off balance depending on what instrument I'm playing. It's just the most uniform way to sit is to have your feet flat on the floor. And this is the easiest way to get things uniform across several players. And it also has the least bit of constriction in the upper body as well. So you want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. You want to make sure that you're sitting off the back of a chair. I'm sitting on a stool that has no back specifically so that I don't have to worry about that. But if you're in a chair that has a back, you're going to want to be kind of about halfway back on the chair and not leaning back so that you're not relaxed and that you have a clear path up and down your body. Next, you want to have your shoulders relaxed. You don't want to carry any tension anywhere in your body, really, not in your legs, not in your shoulders, not in your neck. You want to make sure that your shoulders and your neck are completely relaxed whenever you're playing any sort of instrument, especially one that requires air, like the recorder. You want to have the easiest path for the air to exit from your lungs out of your mouth with the least bit of resistance possible. And any tension is just going to cause tension throughout the rest of your body, and it's going to cause constriction in your airways, and we don't want any of that. And then in terms of the executable skills specific to the recorder, we always want to make sure that we're holding with two hands no matter what we're playing. For instance, if I'm playing, don't worry about note names yet, but imagine I'm playing these 6 holes. I'm going to have both thumbs on the back of the recorder. I know it's tough to see. I have my left thumb and my right thumb both there for support. And especially when I'm playing notes that only involve the back hole, I'm still going to want these fingers and my thumb on the recorder so that I have a fair amount of stability and I don't lose control. So say I'm playing this passage, and maybe I take my hand completely off, I still have this hand here to hold it so that I don't lose control of the recorder. Mostly easy stuff. I'll give you reminders as we go on, but I just want to get that stuff out of the way first before we start learning anything to kind of alleviate any confusion that might arise if I'm going too fast. So, there you go. Executable skills. At this point, I'd like to take a brief second and talk about proper breathing when we're playing a recorder, or this type of breathing also applies to playing any wind instrument. When playing a wind instrument, we want to use what's called a diaphragmatic breath. And what that means, it's basically a long word for saying that we want the air to come in and out using a muscle in our belly way down here called the diaphragm. When we breathe in, we don't want to think about expanding the upper body. We want to think about expanding the lower part of your stomach, like this. I know it's hard to see. Take a look. You see how my stomach goes out when I breathe, and I'm not going up with my shoulders, I'm only going out. That's what you want to feel. You want to feel all the air that you're breathing in coming straight in through your mouth and then going straight to the bottom of your chest. It almost doesn't feel like your chest, it almost feels like it's going to your stomach. What this is doing is it's allowing your stomachs to fill up the most, as opposed to if you're breathing up here, you only get about half a normal breath. But if you're breathing with your diaphragm and you're really feeling your stomach expanding, then you're going to know that you're getting as deep a breath as possible. One way you can practice this is by putting your hand in the small of your back right here, and putting your other hand right in front of your belly button. And what we can do now is we can breathe in and try to feel this expanding. So if I breathe and you watch me do it right, it looks like this. You'll notice my shoulders don't move. Ready? One more time. This is very important. Like I said, it's going to give you the deepest breath, and it's going to lead to, like I said earlier, it's not going to put your shoulders up. There's not going to be any tension in this part of your body. It's all going to be a nice expansion and contraction in your lower body. And that's what we want to think about when we're breathing here. It's also important when playing any wind instrument, this one included, is to have a steady stream of breath. And what I mean by that is when you're exhaling into the instrument, this instrument, spoiler alert, it requires you to blow into it, just like that. What we need to consider is the consistency of our stream of breath. And not so much how much air we're putting out or in what way we are. It's more about how consistently we're putting it out. So if we're going to play loud, we're going to put out a lot of air. Or if we're playing quietly, we're going to put out a little bit of air. But no matter what we do, we need to keep a consistent airstream. Now, let me try to explain it a little bit better. Pretend that you're blowing out a birthday candle. If you had a bunch of candles, you're going to wind up and you're going to go to try to put them all out. We don't want this. While that's a lot of air and it's going to give you a lot of volume and a lot of power, what we need is something with more control. When we are exhaling into the instrument, we want to be releasing the same amount of air all the way through our exhale. If I'm breathing like this, you can hear it's inconsistent. But if I'm breathing like this, it sounds the same all the way. One cool way to practice this is to take any old sheet of paper, usually the smaller the better. Rip off a little piece of my paper here. You're going to walk over to a wall. You're going to put it up against the wall, and you're going to try to hold it there with your stream of breath. Watch me do this. It falls when I stop. If I just let go, it's going to fall. But if I manage to put a long, consistent stream of air on it, it's going to stay in spot. Watch one more time. See that? That's how you release the proper diaphragmatic, consistent breath. So now that we know how to sit, and we know how to breathe, and also how to hold the recorder, now we can start to talk about the notes on the recorder and how we're going to be using our fingers to play the proper notes. So, when we have the recorder in our hands, I forgot to mention this earlier, but we always want to have our left hand on the top and our right hand on the bottom. Now, if you're not a lefty, that's going to feel a little bit strange when you first start playing, but you'll get used to it and it'll be no problem at all. When you have your hands on the recorder, the top three holes are your left hand, your index finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger. And then the next three holes are going to be the same index, ring, middle finger, and then ring finger on the right hand. So what I'm going to be doing throughout this video is calling them by a number. On my left hand, which is on top, I'm going to be calling the fingers. My index finger is going to be 1, my middle finger is going to be 2, and my ring finger is going to be 3. These three fingers, 1, 2, and 3. And then on this hand, on my right hand, my index finger is going to be called 4, my middle finger is going to be called 5, and then my ring finger is going to be called 6. So right now, I'm holding up fingers 1 and 4, holding up fingers 1 and 3, and 4 and 6. That's kind of hard to do. Right now, I'm holding up fingers 1 and 2, and then 4 and 5. You can take a second and get used to this if you want. It's not too hard of a system. 1, 2, 3 on the left, 4, 5, 6 on the right. Okay. So, we know how to hold the recorder already. I'm not going to go over that again. This song sounds like this. That's what this sounds like. It may sound familiar. It was a very popular song on the radio. So before we play it on the recorder, I'd actually like to try singing it a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our body back and forth like this to get the pulse inside of us. The pulse is what we're going to consider when we're trying to play this song. It's like if you were to dance to a song, you dance to the pulse. This is our pulse. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Do this with me. Pulse back and forth. Really feel, let that sit down. Feel what this feels like to go back and forth just like this. I'm also tapping my foot to give you a little bit of an oral aid if you need it. You can do it on your own. If If you don't, then don't. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Now let's try to add the music on top of it. We're going to sing it. Should sound like this. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Make sense? Listen one more time. Right, left, right, left. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. You'll notice for every pulse, I sing 2 notes. Each note being its own do. Each do is 1 note. So my rhythm sounds like this. Do 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 do. Pulse, 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 pulse. 2 notes a pulse. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 do 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 do. Understand? If I add the pitches back in, listen one more time. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Sounds simple. It's a very short little passage from the song, but there's a lot that we can talk about in terms of it. I want you to try to sing with me. If you're not pulsing anymore, go back to pulsing. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Get this back in your body. I'm going to count off 4 pulses, and then we're going to come in like this. Don't sing this time, just listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, 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 and then you'll start. Understand? Let's try it. If you don't get the first time, it's fine. We'll try it again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Did you survive? We'll try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. One more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Great. You can stop pulsing for now, and we're gonna pick up the recorder. Welcome back. Let's pick up our recorders. It's time to go to the recorder. One final thing to talk about before we start playing on this thing is that these holes are only going to be covered by certain fingers. Don't be confused by that. Let's start by looking at the holes specifically. You'll notice that there's 6 holes on this main body section right here. We're going to be numbering those as the same way that we numbered our fingers. So this top hole is going to be hole number 1. This will be hole number 2. The third hole will be hole number 3, and so on, 4, 5. And these 2 will both be 6. What makes this a good system is that the fingers that we numbered earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, those are going to correspond with the hole, as I just explained. So, finger number 1 will cover hole number 1, finger number 2 will cover hole number 2, and so on 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's important, though, that we never cover a hole with a finger that doesn't have the matching number. So if I want to play hole number 1, 3, and 5, for instance, I have to use finger number 1, finger number 3, and finger number 5. I can't be using any other fingers. Your fingers will never move away from the hole that they are meant to be playing on. Does that make sense? If you need to go back at any point, you can rewatch this segment and hopefully it'll clear things up for you. So, let's start playing into the recorder. It's exciting. What I'd like to do is I'd like to do the same pulse we did before. I'd like to review the rhythm using just an airstream. Does that make sense? It's going to sound like this. What we just did was the same thing we'll be doing into the recorder to make the pitches, except we just didn't use the recorder. It doesn't take much air to play the recorder. I'm breathing out only this much. You can probably barely hear it over there. It doesn't take much air at all. If you use too much, you get unpleasant noises. So it's going to end up sounding like without the recorder, with just the rhythm and just the little articulation we're doing. It should be the same as when we were doing do, 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 except you're not activating your vocal cords, you're only using the air. Should only sound about this loud with just the air. Just little puffs of air is what makes the sound of the recorder. I'd like to do the rhythm with just this, which is our first note of the piece actually, just fingers 1 and finger number 3, covering hole number 1 and number 3. And don't forget to cover this little thumb hole on the back. For this song, not for every song, but for this song, we always want that covered. So you'll always have your thumb living right here on this little hole, and then you'll have 1 and you'll have 3. Remember that finger number 1 covers hole number 1, finger number 3 covers hole number 3, always. Supporting with a right hand, as we discussed, even though we're not using those holes, we're still playing with them. We're still playing with the hand there. So I'd like to do the pulse, right, left, do it with me. And I'd like to play with little puffs of air, just the rhythm on this note only. Don't change your fingers around. Just do little puffs of air. I want to see what this sounds like. We're going to get our first sounds in the recorder. I'm excited. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try it again. If you want to take a rep and just listen, we can do that. Or if you think you can do it, then do it with me. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. All right, one more time. If you didn't do it last time, do it with me this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. If you need to take a breath between those two little phrases, that's fine too. A bigger person might not need to do it because they have more lung capacity, but if you're just beginning, you might find yourself needing to take a breath. So practice that a couple times on your own. If you need to, go back and just use the video and play along with the video. If you can do it on your own, then do it on your own, whatever is easiest for you. Now that we can play the rhythm in time, and now that we know how to hold the recorder, how to sit right, and how to blow into it properly, let's talk about the different notes that are required to play this quick little melody. There are 4 notes total. This one, which we've already learned, this one, and then this one. Those are the 4 notes. The first one we already learned, finger 1 and 3 and the thumb hole, always the thumb hole. Sounds like this. Try it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's hold it for 4 pulses. Let's do the pulses. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. The second note is going to be just the first and the second finger. So you're going to lift up the third finger and put down the second. This note sounds like this. Try it on your own. Now try it with me. Ready? Right, left, right, left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pulses. The next note is easy. You just place down the third finger. Cover hole number 3. This note sounds like this. Give it a shot. Let's do it together. Right, left, right, left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure we're really trying to get that consistent airstream we talked about earlier. If you have a consistent airstream, it'll sound consistent. Instead of a consistent airstream will sound like one consistent pitch. Just like that. The fourth and final note we have, let's review. Note number 1, which is fingers 1 and 3. Note number 2, which is fingers 1 and 2. Note number 3, which is fingers 1, 2, and 3. And note number 4, which is going to be fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to be using all 6 fingers that we've already addressed in this video so far. And that note's going to sound like this. It's a low note, and it's very important. 2 things. 1, we need to cover both those little holes. If we only cover one, we're going to get an undesirable note. You can hear how they're different depending on if I cover both holes or not. We want to cover both holes to get the proper note. And the other thing is, a note this low, you're not going to use very much air at all. You're basically going to be sighing into the recorder. It's almost like you're sad and you sigh, and that little amount of air is going to be enough to make the note speak. If I use too much, it sounds really high. We don't want that. We want nice, relaxed. So now we know all 6 notes. Let's review the notes. 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th. 1 has fingers 1 and 3. 2 has fingers 1 and 2. Note 3 has fingers 1, 2, and 3. And note 4 has all 6 fingers. If you need to review, go back and rewind that section and look at my fingers as I talk about them. Let's try playing the notes now. Let's play note number 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Note number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Note number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And note number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are our 4 notes. If you need to, go back and try it again until you've got those 4 notes solid. You want to be able to switch between them fairly quickly and with accuracy, completely covering each hole, getting the right pitches. So the last thing that we need to talk about here is when to play each note and how many times to play it. There's a pretty easy way to learn how to do this, and I think the best way is to get our pulse back. Right, left, left. And now think about the melody in your head. Like, when do the notes change? If you think about the first note, let's sing just the first note 4 times. Here's the pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doot, 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 doot. You'll notice I sing the pitch 4 times in 2 pulses. Remember, each pulse gets two notes. Doot, 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 doot. Doot, 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 doot. This is note 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Try that just that much, playing with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add the second note. The second note only lasts half as long. So if we sing it, it sounds like this. Doot, 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 doot. Doot, 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 doot. Make sense? Try it, listen once, and then try it. If you need to review your fingerings, go back and check them out. Let's try it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time, ready, go. Add on the third note. The third note only happens 1 time, right after we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then this note happens 1 time. Sounds like this. Sounds like that. Let's try it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's only one note to add. The fourth note, which is, remember, all 6 fingers. You play it also one time. Listen one time. Listen again. Let's try it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. The only thing left to do is repeat it a second time, except in the second time we don't play the fourth note. We just leave it as a rest, and you can take a breath if you want. If we put the two together, it sounds like this. Rest. Make sense? You will go right from this fourth note back into the first note when we do the repeat. You play it one time, and then you don't wait, you go right back into it. Listen one more time, and then we're going to try it together, and that'll be the whole thing. Just like that. And we can play the whole thing twice to be the entire segment, and we've learned everything. Let's try it together. 2 times all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I made a mistake. Mistakes happen. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there you have it. That's everything you need to know to play Katy Perry's Dark Horse on recorder. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Come back for more video lessons in the future and have fun ripping it.